That's recording. And then could you do that one?
It's not like that camera's magic. It just makes different clips right away. I don't know why the SLRs don't do that.
Right. Alright, everything's good? Yeah? Everything's good?
Yeah, so?
Like everything's on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just check once more.
Yeah. Just in case, guys.
Might as well. Okay. I'll just clap this once.
Cool.
I'm used to something now. It's not so bad.
Oh, shit, sorry.
Like
Oh, no, that's me.
20 minutes or so. Like every topic, I guess.
Alright, cool. We started. Aye. Alright, you good? You comfy? You guys comfy? You guys good? Alright.
Comfy.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
I swallow pretty hard. Alright, I'm done.
Pause. Mike?
Jerry?
Ross.
Leave it messy. Cool.
Cool, wow, we did it, guys. Wow, okay, we're done. Goodbye. We're done.
Episode of...
Beautiful, look at that. We did it.
Four?
Episode 4, yeah.
Episode 4. So get right into it. There were some deaths in Israel. After the U.S. Embassy was...
Sorry, I can't keep a straight face.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
After the people convened for the opening of the U.S. Embassy, there were huge protests in Gaza. And during that time, dozens, 59 were killed.
59.
59.
I thought it was 40. Go on.
59, 2,200 were wounded out of...
2,000.
200 were wounded
That
after...
was 200.
Out of 40,000 protesters. And depending on... there's a lot of different news sites that are covering it. I saw an article from the Guardian, and I saw this one, which was Haaretz, which is an Israeli site, and they're pretty honest about it. They're not, swaying to the media. So it's, it's kind of scary, but it's in some ways people could say it's almost justified. Because the protests there do get very violent, and there is constant fear in Israel, and the fact that they're using live fire and people are getting angry about that is one of those things where it's because we're living in Western society and very desensitized, you don't sort of get a lot of, your police force is the military, or, that's your main body of protection. And it's pretty prevalent there. Like, everyone's in the army in Israel.
Oh yeah, conscription.
You're conscripted into the army, and they're always around.
Right.
Have any thoughts?
I mean, you said that the what's it called? Backlash was almost justified, but how bad could it? There's people shooting videos.
Yeah.
So there should be. You could just probably see why things happen, but I don't do they really have to go that far?
It's I don't think they needed to wound and kill so many people. That's never justified.
That seems like an act of war almost, to be honest.
Well, they're technically at war.
Cold War. Live war.
It's with a terrorist group, so it's not really...
It's a terrorist group?
Yeah, Gaza's not a governing country, really.
Oh, okay.
Or, it's not... Again, tough subject. I understand, I think having that sort of protection is necessary, but we don't, I don't know how violent the protests got. Not many people do. I don't think there was any need to kill 59 people and wound 220. Or no, 2,200.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's a little shocking.
Yeah, it was kind of thrown off.
Because Israel has been, for a while, very, to some extent,
handling it okay.
Yeah, they've always been, very open to trying to have peace, even though they're surrounded by people who don't want them there. And a lot of this is, it's scary because there's no way the media is going to be able to, have any sort of backing towards Israel. Even though for years and years and years, when there has been violence on Israel, it hasn't been reported by major news sources, or it's been skewed to the other side. And not many people know that, like, daily people are attacked, whether it's, missile bombardments to terrorist attacks and stuff like that.
You're saying this is in Palestine, or?
No, this is in Israel. Like
other surrounding countries.
Other surrounding countries, like mostly terrorist groups, probably only terrorist groups, are constantly attacking Israel.
Yeah.
And this is a daily thing. This isn't like, once a month something happens.
Yeah.
It's just like there are, bomb shelters set up everywhere. Everyone knows where to go. It's a very scary situation. And then when something like this happens, there's no way they're going to come back from that. Because, before the media wasn't on their side, and now it's definitely not going to happen.
I feel like someone handling the troops or defense had made a huge mistake. I feel like they would have the technology to use, sound pollution, those huge sound cannons to force people away or set them down. There's different ways to do it. Tear gas, water, you know how this is bad. You know how they use water jets
holes,
on people during segregation? Yeah, I feel like there's many different ways of crowd control, including rubber bullets, that doesn't have to lead to murder. Essentially,
the issue is that I don't want to try.
We don't know.
So
I don't know how violent this protest is.
We don't know
I don't
how
think
bad
it's like Occupy Wall Street. I think it's on the level of they were starting to get violent. I don't think you should be using I don't think you should be using live fire, but part of me is I think if an individual soldier is going to choose to fire, I think they in their own right, they're not mindless drones. They know what, to some extent, know what they're doing, or at least they must have had a fear in some case to do something.
Well, when is it justified when an officer, let's say, at least down here, when is it justified when an officer takes a life?
Well, when there's lethal force placed against him. We don't know how many Israeli people died in that. If it's none, then, or only a few injured, then that's a huge problem. And it would be swayed against Israel.
Can we think of anything recently? I can't, really.
Like a protest that gone bad?
No. When an officer was actually celebrated for, or it was justified for killing someone.
I don't remember.
You would see in the movies, right? But I don't know. In real life, it's it's such a weird thing because it really plays with your morals too.
That sort of thing doesn't really get shared around. Yeah, it's very circumstantial.
Shit's all water now.
That's the name of our EP, man.
Shit's all water now?
Yeah.
Shit's all water now.
You like water, Bruce Lee.
No, we're not going to quote Bruce Lee.
Chance quoted Bruce Lee in his commencement speech.
Really? What did he say?
It was kind of bad. It was so hot in Louisiana. He was talking about Beyonce is a better performer than Michael because everybody has to be better than their heroes in order for art to advance.
They have to be, but are they?
I don't think Beyonce's a better performer than Michael.
That is a huge fucking statement. Holy. Saying Beyonce's better. That just got me triggered.
That and the Louisiana Heat, it was just a bad crowd.
I think it was the Heat, fam.
Yeah.
that must have done some chance.
It was a dead crowd. No. He practiced. The whole conversation surrounded that.
Of course. But
he meant well, but don't put Michael.
I agree that, in order for art to advance, you got to better yourself from, your inspirations. Man, but saying that, I don't know, man. I don't know, Chance. Look, Chance, I love you. I love you, Chance, but I mean, come on, really? What do you think? What do you guys think?
I like Michael, man. He captures a crowd.
I mean, he's historical.
One man
like,
on stage and he can handle a stadium. I don't think Beyonce.
I mean,
can
like
do
what
that.
he did for the art too.
I mean, that's the thing. It's
I don't
like
see Beyonce doing that.
it's like
I know
She's
it's hard.
placed on that pedestal.
I know, and
She has earned the respect, but I don't think
even to try to progress the art from like Michael did is hard. I understand, but still.
I think the issue is that like he changed that phase of music completely, and it was for the better. I think we can all agree. It was like he did good things,
Yeah.
great things,
No
excellent
shit.
things.
Yeah.
And then you take an artist like Beyonce, and maybe it's more of like she's not looking to change the music scene, but she is a very good artist.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
yeah, she gets it. Yeah, of course.
Do we value Michael as a better artist, or do we value him more because he he innovated? Like, do you think if he wasn't the one that innovated, and let's say Beyonce was the one that innovated and he was out now, do you think his quality of work compares to Beyonce rather than the fact that he just changed the industry or whatever?
I think
Well,
he would still. If
yeah.
he came out today, it was like a more modernized version of him. I think he would match up quite well against Beyonce.
Like, man, like look at like Kanye's. Why people love Kanye so much? Because he like progressed the music, progressed hip hop. He put his own thing on the genre. So when you look at Beyonce, I mean, of course she's got bangers on bangers, you know.
Excellent pop ballads. And
Of course, yeah. Like,
some southern.
I'm saying more of
influences.
let's say in soccer. I don't know. I don't want to make a sports reference. Okay, let's.
We understand sports.
No,
Yeah,
it's not that we don't
balls.
understand sports. It's just that I don't think it's a good enough way to reference it. Okay, let's say for like you have two race car drivers,
yeah.
and
I know that less. Go on.
and
I know that one guy.
and okay, let's say you have two race car drivers, and the one company has made like the next new concept of car.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes out and wins, 15 championships or whatever, but he's not as good of a driver as as the other racer, but he just doesn't have as good of a car.
How does it relate
What's your
to this?
analogy? I don't.
I'm saying
What does the car represent?
the car
Beyonce-
the car
Oh no, the
Wait.
car. He's talking
The
about
car-
drivers.
Are you
car-
objectifying women?
the car
No.
no the car represents the music genre that, let's say, they both follow it in a sense. And I'm just saying, is it possible that regardless of whether he innovated or not, is his music or level of artistry better than Beyonce's?
Well, because he.
Outside of innovation. Remove the innovation. Remove
Well,
the
how
way he
could
changed
you?
the scene.
How could you remove innovation? Because that was part of it. Like that's like it's
I
because he's so
understand
great.
that's- I understand that's a part of it, but I'm trying to give like the benefit.
I mean, it's not
of the
only
doubt.
him, but it's not only the artist. You know, it's also the team. We should also recognize that.
No. But like, if Beyonce's craft is technically better in some sense, wouldn't that make her the better artist, regardless of whether she innovated? Just because you're the first to do something doesn't mean you're the best at something.
I don't think she's better.
I'm not saying
Michael.
she's better. I'm just saying that could be.
Was the Michael the
Was it-
first for anything though? Even the moonwalk was inspired
No,
by
no,
other
the
folks.
moonwalk was not him.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Was who's the one that said Beyonce is better?
Chance.
Chance.
The Rapper.
So I'm just trying to give Chance the Rapper the benefit of the doubt of maybe he just thinks that her artistry and craft is better than Michael's, regardless of whether he innovated or not. Like I think the quality of
How could you look at Thriller and not look at the innovation?
okay,
And
like
what it did for
what if
pop and-
Thriller came out now? How would it stand? Is the only thing that's keeping it going, like that's made it sort of timeless, is because it innovated?
Well,
Or because
you know, a
it
good
changed the
example
scene?
for that would be like The Exorcist,
Yeah.
because it
You watch
it
it
was great
now,
for
it's-
its time, but now it's, you know what I mean? It's all right, but even I mean,
I think.
but again, nobody does it like Thriller, like or any of his
I don't
tracks.
really know or think about innovation. I just think as a showman or a showman woman, Michael's leaps and bounds better than Beyonce at it. Because he can handle the stage. He can handle, like I said, handle a stadium with just himself. Beyonce needs a team. But she's all about, that's just kind of the way she does it. So I guess it's unfair to throw that out there.
And is it fair to put a project from the past into the present, comparing the two? Is it fair? I don't know.
Well, did Chen
Because it wouldn't be fair for the
Chen
Exorcist.
say
Right?
like Beyonce is the best sing since Michael Jackson?
No, it's the performer.
Artist, performer, that kind of thing.
So
I think it was just a bad analogy. I think it was just...
I mean, like he can have his opinion. Everyone can have his opinion because a lot of this is just art.
Of course, yeah.
And if that's what you believe, then go ahead. I don't stand to say anything.
I say, if you're talking about peak Beyonce, which was like I don't know, 5 years ago, Halo and that.
I think it's more
Girls
than 5.
Around the World, and I guess even when did the last video album thing come out?
Lemonade?
Yeah.
Not sure. 2014, 2015?
I think that was the
Is it
end of her
2015?
peak. Unless she's gonna put out something amazing, I think, because she dominated for like I don't know 6 years.
I mean, the
Since
fact that she
2008.
killed Coachella.
What?
The fact that she killed Coachella, like...
She left and
She was-
was never the same again. Or?
No, like she wasn't like everyone praising that performance at Coachella.
Oh, she took over Coachella.
Yeah.
She killed it.
She killed it. Exactly.
She didn't kill it.
She murdered.
She killed it.
But man, I don't know though. Like that's a good question. Is Beyonce a better performer / artist than Michael? I don't know.
I don't think so.
It's hard to compare the two because of the time periods too, and how much the genre has changed. And the only reason the genre changed is because it advanced. And the only reason it advanced is because of Michael. Or at least he's one of the factors that made it advance.
Well, you can also look at legacy. Stevie Wonder.
The legacy.
You could listen to his Groove of the Sounds now.
Yeah.
It's like 40, 50 years old. Still
But you
works.
wouldn't compare Stevie and Michael, right?
I would. They're not too far apart.
Well,
Stevie's got soul. Michael's got the move.
yeah, I know, but still, you couldn't. They're different decades, though.
No, they're around. Michael's been around since the 70s. Stevie's a little bit earlier.
Michael solo, I'm saying, like, I was like late 70s, wasn't it?
But that's a closer thing to compare than.
And
Beyonce
genres
and
too,
Michael.
though.
I think Stevie's close enough to like. I think you can try to compare it.
I think Michael and Beyonce are in the same genre, sort of, because they couldn't sort of dip into the
Kinda
same
poppy,
genre. Yeah, poppy,
kinda
R&B,
R&B.
exactly. But damn, to
Stevie's
compare
got
the
too
two.
much soul. What you saying?
Okay, let's do this. Like, could you compare Tupac and Kendrick?
Yes, they're rappers, right?
Yeah, but what does that mean? Like, what's the difference?
What do you mean? What's the difference? They're all in the same general field. They write and rhyme. They shoot videos. They try to tell stories about the hood. I guess does Tupac do that? Talk about his life and stuff. Like
This is hurting my brain.
we can move on.
No, we have to do this. I'm sorry.
It's a difficult topic because you're talking about something that's
What are you
widely
comparing?
seen
Are you
as
just comparing them
subjective.
as entire artists? Tupac and Kendrick?
I just want to find a way to actually like legitimately compare the two and see how could we compare people from different decades and see who's better. I mean, first of all, seeing who's better or not is all subjective, right? So, to each their own. But still, I mean, wouldn't there be a system? Shouldn't there be a system?
Why?
Like, why not?
Why do we need it?
Just for our that
Just
are
to
alive.
compare. Just to compare
Top 10
people.
that are
No.
alive. That's all.
I mean,
Like, why do you compare
Bragging
movies?
rights, I
Why do
guess.
we like critique movies and shit? You know what I mean?
it's one of those things like, I was just looking this up because I forgot the name. But the movie Casablanca, when it came out, like high praise everywhere. Like this was, probably something that changed its genre in a sense, in a way. It influences a lot today. Today, it's not that good of a movie anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's alright. I think I saw like half of it. On
Yeah,
television.
but it's not like.
Does that mean it should be? It should have
Doesn't mean it
updated
wasn't-
reviews.
No.
I think you can say. I think like if Chance had worded it as Beyonce is the best. I feel Beyonce is the best performer since Michael Jackson. That's a lot more
That makes
justified
more
to
sense.
say than is better than Michael Jackson.
Yeah, because in this decade, she is basically like the closest to Michael right now.
Mhm.
I would say.
Sure.
What about
That's
Bruno
a
Mars?
way better, and they'll still get the message. But Bruno Mars is barely like he's just getting started. We'll see where he
Yeah.
gets to, because the last record was pretty great.
He feels a lot like Michael Jackson to me.
Yeah,
Right.
he's kind of like boring, that the moves and
Yeah.
everything.
Mm.
Hmm.
And that's the effect of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
We got
Right.
Bruno Mars because of Michael Jackson.
I think in like hindsight, you compare legacy instead of.
I
Just
guess
the
that would make
craft.
more sense.
But-
the
but
legacy. Yeah.
That's
Because
there's also
how-
an issue with that. It's
yeah.
like it's hard to compare things based on, let's say, how much money they make or how many awards they get.
Yeah,
or no, I
it's
mean
not
like
that.
the impact.
It's about societal impact. It's about how many kids are affected by it and want to.
How much it influences the genre.
Yeah. I guess.
But then it's Michael Jackson, no matter what.
Mhm.
I think he's
Beyonce is a product of Michael Jackson.
yeah.
No,
But who's a product of Beyonce?
the future.
Okay,
Kids.
so the question is, how far is it going to go before we're stopped being influenced by Michael Jackson and we start being influenced by Beyonce?
I don't think.
Because
Like,
no one's mimicking the Beach Boys today, but I'm sure a lot of people follow.
I don't
by
think.
them.
I don't think people will mimic Beyonce as much as they have Michael.
We never know.
But,
We never
Yeah.
know.
do people even know Beyonce in China? Well,
Probably.
why am I asking you?
I'm sure
I know,
she's
yeah,
had a
yeah.
tour in China.
Well,
Maybe.
like people know Michael. If you go anywhere, people know Michael.
Yeah, but it's like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
some
those were the
moves.
days before digital, right? Like internet.
But it's easier to share culture, like culture. And
No, I'm
music
saying the
and
fact that
movies.
he was known worldwide and the
Which
days
you're
before
saying
internet
is even bigger impact.
is a bigger. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
Ah man, it's
Mhm.
yeah.
we kind of got derailed.
I'm sorry.
T-real.
Derailed. So into a conversation
That's my
had,
car.
or a question I had posed to them is that can you be like
Oh,
there, there's so much like quote unquote
just because I made a funny accent.
no I'm saying there's so much quote unquote racism towards Italians, and I'm like,
There's not that much racism towards it.
but there is, because it's very like all the stereotypical talk, whether it's good or bad,
Yeah.
is technically racist. There's technically a good side to racism, which is like just stereotyping that isn't necessarily bad.
Well, stereotyping and racism. Well, I think stereotyping is a factor to racism, but I don't think it's like all like racism. What is racism? Like prejudice, right? When you're like discriminating and all that. Right?
Yeah. And
So-
stereotyping is technically a form of that, whether it's good or bad.
It's a subsection. of race.
Like,
Yeah.
like saying something like all Asians are smart.
Right.
It's not technically a bad thing, but the assumption that they all should be smart in any
Is
given situation
Stereotype.
or good at math.
yeah,
so
that's
that-
smart is a little too general. Book smart, yes, we're supposed to be book smart.
But that idea is like, it's not like, what I'm saying is not technically an insult to you
Mhm.
guys, but the association of that towards an entire group of people, that generalization, that's racist.
Well, isn't it racist when it goes negative?
No, not only. It's just the generalization.
Yeah.
And even if it's
It works both
even if
ways.
it's saying an entire group of people are good at math or whatever, the just assuming that is not a good thing.
Well, I know why we're good at math, because we were taught since preschool, not preschool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay,
But
wait.
since young to like endlessly exercise. It's from exercise and time put in. It's not because we're good at math, because we're working so hard at it than everybody else.
So that means if stereotyping equals racism, that means we're all racist in some way or another.
Yes,
Generally,
There's
that's
no clean
Damn.
slates.
like that's why people say there's a lighter side to racism, which is why I wanted to talk about being racist towards Italians, because it's like you know, you have your classical, like, you know, boppity boopity accent that you know.
Man, wait, hold up, pause, hold up. That's a pretty heavy thing to say, though. Like, stereotyping is racism, because look at what racism has, what it is, and we see so many, events that relate to it, and saying that boopity boppity equals racism is like pretty. Like, I know what you mean.
It's a part of the process. Ignorance, and then you combine it with stereotyping. A lot of them are bad stereotypes, which eventually becomes
because there is
misunderstanding and hatred.
There are a lot of most of racism is fueled by by stereotyping.
Yeah.
Where you say, you know, certain groups of people are more prone to be criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Certain groups of people aren't very smart at all.
Mm.
Stuff like that. Certain groups of people are associated with a religion that, you know, denominates violence. But then you have the others where it's like, you know, Jews are good with money.
Right.
Which is, like, it's not technically bad, but I think it's insulting to associate an entire group of people to that.
And being good at money means, if you're good at money, chances are you're probably cheap. And like, my parents are good at money. They used to be cheap when they couldn't really, like, make all that much money. So there's bad connotations.
The important thing, though, is that is nowhere near as bad as, let's say, institutional racism towards black communities and black people.
Like, Jews are good at money. They run businesses. Like how Nazism pushed its agendas. They're good at money. They're cheap. And then you add that with the racist imagery, and that's how they kind of shut down all the
Well, do you see what I'm saying? As in, like, you know what I'm trying to say, though, right? Like, it sounds really weird to say that. It feels like a little extreme.
I mean, in a sense, yeah. Like, it's hard to associate the two because one is very, like, racism is like 90% of the time it's terrible. 95% of the time it's terrible. But you always have just the little anomalies and exceptions where it's like, well, this isn't, you know.
Because I always thought it was prejudice equals racism, not stereotyping equals racism. Because look at, a lot of comedians make
stereotyping is a product of
stereotyping leads to prejudice.
Stereotyping leads to prejudice, yes, but stereotyping itself as its own, is it really racism? It's based, yeah, sure, but at the end of the day, it's...
You're saying not understanding doesn't mean hate.
Exactly. Yeah. Ignorance isn't hate, but it's something that's frowned upon.
That's fair.
That's understandable.
And it can promote hate.
Of course, there's a chance of going into actual racism. Is in my mind, I'm saying, it has a chance to actually get into actual racism.
Yeah,
sure. It's
what I mean?
Like, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's hard to sort of group them together because the idea is like, a lot like me just saying, Italian racism isn't always bad. Like, most of the things that people stereotype about Italians aren't really that bad. It's
right. It's like pretty. I mean,
it was pretty bad when I think it was either after World War II or around there at that time. Americans were pretty racist against Italian immigrants.
Well, yeah.
That was bad, but now it's not terrible.
Because that was a product of, the war happening and the Italians being on the opposite side.
Oh, okay.
So they come in, they immigrate to America, and they're taking up. It's the equivalent of now they're taking up jobs and, whole communities of housing, specifically in Brooklyn and stuff and places like that.
Hey, Tony!
Yeah.
Forget about it!
So you have this whole subculture building up, which they were initially racist towards, and now it's very accepted, and it's a part of its history. So my question was, why are people so, in quotations, because it is like a subsection of this, but why are people so, why is society so racist towards Italians?
Because nobody speaks up about it.
Because it's never bad.
Look at The Simpsons.
Yeah.
There's stereotypes of almost every culture in there, but recently we've had I forgot his name, but
just Du Bois and another comedian.
I think. Well, they talked about it, but the documentary. Mm-hmm. He made a documentary about Apu and how that affects the brown community and all that stuff. But that's only recently. The only reason why people care now or see it as a bad thing is because we've been silent for so long. Same with your Italian
I never
stuff.
really thought of it. Like, I watch Simpsons now and then. I never really thought of anything about his accent.
I mean, like, I get what the documentary is saying, and I
Mhm.
do agree. Like, yeah, negative, accents are bad. Yeah, well, to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, like, again, as the Simpsons guys justified it, they made stereotypes of every culture, and they did the accents, the funny accents, and whatnot.
Mm.
But as one of the guys who were interviewed in that documentary, the problem was with us is that there's so little representation of who we really are.
Yeah.
There still fucking is, but that was the factor, because then everybody looked at us as Apu.
Yeah, especially if you don't live near like a community with a lot of, let's say, Indian people, Pakistani people, South Asian people. That's the only representation you see.
Yeah.
Of a brown person.
Like Italians, there's that stereotype, but then there's
like it's sort of like in any TV show. Let's say you hear a character has Italian last name, no one immediately assumes them to be like the cooking nona,
right,
or whatever. But it's one of those things where I think what has become so commercialized is Italian stereotypes, and
you
this
see a
comes
lot,
in the form of fast food to frozen pizzas and stuff like that. And I find it interesting to just cover it because, like, for any other culture that doesn't have as much representation, like you're saying, where Apu was essentially like the icon of the culture for so long. With ours, that just goes unnoticed. No one speaks up about it because it's sort of like we're just like,
your influence is everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Like that's crazy how that
And
happens.
it's positive now for the most part.
I just think it's an interesting thought to understand how wider representation leads to just more acceptance of a culture, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But what is your? Do you think that's not okay? You think we should go easy on the stereotyping and try to?
I think if you're going to stereotype, it should always, it should always be in some sort of comedic manner.
Yeah.
Like, there should never be a serious situation where you suddenly have to stereotype someone based on their culture.
I'm fine with that, fools.
Unless
honestly.
it's some sort of a timepiece, but even then, stereotyping is not a great idea, because we're always people.
Yeah, unless you live in a huge mixed place, like, let's say downtown Toronto maybe, or Scarborough, you don't really know anybody of every color. So, yeah. Oh yeah, yesterday I was coming back from the airport and there was two Spanish ladies talking behind me. I couldn't tell what kind of accent, but I didn't expect anything from that. And I opened the window because it was miserable and rainy and humid. Picked up a phone and I heard boom, they slammed the window behind me. I didn't say anything, but I didn't know what to expect. All I was thinking is okay, if they're coming straight from Colombia, and I don't know how people live or interact with other people there. Maybe that's just how they do it. Maybe they were just feeling really cold. But I was thrown off because they could have asked me. I'm a polite person.
Rudely shut it like that.
Yeah,
right?
And then at the end of the ride, I got off just to look at who they are and also stare them down a little. They're two tiny little, I don't know, elderly ladies, and one of them worked for the airport, which really threw me off. So I'm both glad that I didn't stereotype or be racist to anybody, but I was also shocked, you work in the Toronto airport, you shouldn't know to ask people for them to do things. So it's just on a personal basis. I didn't talk to her or anything. I just let it go.
Just a question.
Mm-hmm.
It was raining?
Yeah. Oh, no, not really. Nothing was coming. I was checking. I was windows right above me.
Because the whole thing is what if they're getting a little rained on? Then
I don't think they are
justified.
Yeah.
There's.
I don't think they are. It wasn't really raining. It was it was really hot and miserable after the rain. It wasn't raining.
Even then, I'd just like to
see where they're coming from.
Maybe they didn't that's the thing. Maybe they didn't even notice you open it. And then they realized like a couple, like how long was it before they closed it?
Like 10 minutes.
Maybe
15?
they didn't notice you open it, and then afterwards, like the woman was like, however hot it was, like I don't like I need to close this, and they just closed it, and it wasn't sort of like a slight to you. It was just I need to close this, and
old people react to temperature differently. I know my grandma. She doesn't really. Her body can't really tell when it's too hot, so they prefer it to be at least warmer than anything else. Maybe there was wind going through all the way behind me. Maybe they were feeling it. Sure, but you could have still asked me. Like I think,
but again,
if you live anywhere, you could like regardless of where you're coming from, you could have asked. Because I reached the handle perfectly.
Even then, it could have just been like she didn't notice you opening it, and she didn't want to bother you in any case because she didn't think like.
No, it was the
like,
timing was too perfect. I pick up the phone. And boom, she slammed it.
I like to think it's a coincidence. I know you don't, but I feel like
it doesn't feel like a coincidence. Of course, I like to conspire.
Again, I wasn't in the situation, so I don't know.
In any case, even if I didn't open the window, you could have asked me. And you've been in Canada for a while. But I don't know how you did things before.
The difference is that I wouldn't have asked you. Because if I didn't know you opened the window, why? Like, what reason would I have to ask you? If anything, I'm bothering you.
You didn't have to slam it on me. I guess it was a heavy window. Maybe.
I'm just trying to sort of play devil's advocate here and just find out a reason for you.
But I was spinning this as like a racial thing. Like, I was really trying not to be racist, and she worked in the city. Like she's pretty much. I'll take her as a citizen of Canada, like so.
I mean, maybe.
I didn't want to stereotype her.
Maybe don't assume that she's not a citizen of Canada, or she immigrated here.
But she's speaking Spanish.
So.
What?
I can speak Spanish. Like.
She's a little old lady. Like.
So. I don't like. I know. It's like.
I'm just saying. I didn't want to be racist. I didn't want to think of her in a bad way. Maybe she's just a bad apple, and
maybe
she works here. Yeah, but not her punching bag. Sure, she had a tough day.
Again, there's so many explanations. I don't want to.
Wait, what is your statement exactly? I'm really confused.
Because he's rebuttaling me so much.
No, I'm saying like your story. Okay, what's the point?
I wasn't racist, and turns out she works here. That's all.
Okay.
I didn't want to pin it on her
thanks, Mike,
she's
for not being a racist.
No, I'm just saying, like, we were talking about that.
Yes, but like, what is? Oh, so
stereotyping.
That was a chance where you could have stereotyped, but you didn't. You're saying.
I didn't want to. I thought maybe she's. Not everybody like her did that. Maybe it was something, but I just felt really not attacked. But no, there's other ways to do it.
Shook.
Well, I guess that's one of the factors of how racist people form is with bad occurrences with one individual that would belong to a certain group. And then, you just have that mental image of, everyone who looks like that guy.
I don't know anything about Spanish people. I don't know any stereotype. I thought, like...
Right.
Maybe it's just, like, to solve racism, just assume it's a bad person and not a bad culture. Mm. That's what I would do. I would just think, like, if someone... Like if that happened to me and I knew they intended to do that just to slight me, I would think they're an asshole. I wouldn't start saying... all Spanish people. Like, I wouldn't start thinking of a stereotype.
I don't know.
No, but it's, it's natural to think that way too. Like, when you don't know anything about a certain group and you only see one person.
Because it's kind of a way to understand and give an excuse. In a devil's advocate kind of way. Because, they don't know better, essentially.
Right.
They don't know better because it's okay for people to push around. Because some countries don't like that. They don't like, there's too many people around. So you're not going to ask, excuse me. You're not going to excuse everybody. So everybody just squeeze together. And whatever they got to do, since there's not enough time for conversation. Just do it. That's what I'm giving the benefit of the doubt for. I'm too Canadian. That's why I felt like it was super rude. But other than that, like,
That's the other thing about being Canadian is you also just learn to let things go.
and I did.
That would normally, like, yeah.
Mhm.
That
I
normally
mean,
most
I
people
do it
wouldn't
pretty
let go.
slowly. No, that's one fault of mine, but I don't really act upon it or bring it up. Well, I'm bringing it up here, but no, it's a topic point. And to transition in that, since you worked in the Toronto Pearson Airport, and you know when you immigrate to somewhere, and you live there for a while and work there, you kind of get to know how people work, how they talk, how they ask for things, and it's not like Canadians act polite out of kindness. It's just how people like. We're not. I'm not.
I like to do it out of kindness.
I want to, but a lot of times when people say hi, how are you, it doesn't mean anything. It's just.
I mean, yeah,
Hello.
in a sense, but like, it's also a very somewhat selfish thing. Like, I try and let's say at work, I'm obligated to be nice to people
Mhm.
when I talk to them, but it's also one of the things where like I just like to be nice to people because it,
Yeah.
you know, gives a better impact on them. Because
Mhm.
if someone asked me how I was, like a random stranger, I'd just be like, you know, great, and I would feel good because in some ways they're caring about my well-being, and it would make me feel better about myself and make
But the
me.
problem about that is that you don't want to be rude and actually go into your day. But you ask me how I'm doing, I always restrain myself because sometimes I do bad. I don't want to let them know about it. I don't think they want to hear me.
So just say you're doing okay today.
Yeah, but that's not what I want to say.
You don't want to clap for the video?
It's okay. We'll figure it out, man.
Alright.
The level, just different peaks and troughs. Oh yeah. What is the Canadian identity? Because I thought like, oh, she works here, so why is she still like slamming windows?
I just think she had a bad day.
Yeah.
Because, like, no
Not
matter
everyone
how nice
conforms
you
to
can
the
be, if someone has
stereotype.
a terrible day, as Canadian as you can be, if I have enough people just be rude to me, I'm not going to be
Okay.
happy after work.
Okay, let's move on from that because this morning I was having I thought I was gonna have an argument with a dude on Facebook, like a friend of a friend. He's super right wing. He's talking about voting for Doug Ford, Ontario provincial election stuff. I thought he was just gonna keep like saying out those one-liners and libtard this and that kind of thing. But he actually brought up a couple points from his perspective that was fairly logical, which I think I'll keep working on that conversation. He brought up how so many immigrants are coming in, Canada has lost its identity, but Canada's barely 150 years old. I think the identity we have is just be nice and, of course, be patriotic, but
I like
how
the fact that we
patriotic
have so many
can we-
cultures coming in. I like the
That's
idea
our-
of having a kind of country that welcomes immigrants.
that's what the government touts its, that's what...
We're not a melting pot, we're a mosaic.
Mhm.
I mean, if there's one thing you can take from our government, it's that they're always accepting in most cases.
At least they say they are, which is,
Yeah.
it's always nice to at least try.
I think the whole assumption that immigrants steal work is
I think that's really stupid.
because the whole thing isn't like if more people are coming in, then it's let's say there's more competition for work,
Mhm.
but they're not directly affecting you losing your job. You are directly, or you not being able to get a job. You are directly affecting that.
And they gotta eat. They didn't come here to target you personally.
They came here because their place didn't have opportunity, or it was hostile, or they're just
So many factors.
Yeah, I'm at a point here where I'm essentially very westernized now, as talked about before, and just I don't really know like Canadian values other than be nice and be kind and support and promote everybody's own cultures. And I think if like an immigrant or someone who came to this country, whatever country, has stayed long enough, they'll eventually naturally assimilate with the traditions and the culture of the country. Like they'll know about it, they'll act upon it, they'll eventually become what people think Canadians are. They might not be. They might not be white, but like, I think it'll work out if you just give them a little bit of time.
Also, the idea, like the value of a Canadian, I don't think it's not really enforced on people.
Which is good. I don't want.
But you're integrated into it. Like I'm, I like to be kind to people because I find most of my interactions and most people are very kind to me. So I want to be part of that group. I don't want to be rude to these people because regardless of whether you're having a good or bad day, no one's lashing out at me or anything. Everyone's like courteous or just kind enough to get by. And I think the great thing about Canada is that, even if you're immigrating to the country, you eventually get assimilated into the idea of like just pay it forward or just be kind to everyone. And it's not something that's forced on you, but you just sort of mesh into it.
Yeah. I think, let's say you live in a community that's like full of Asian, like Chinese people, and you don't need to really meet anybody for work, that process might take much longer, but eventually everybody should get used to where they are. I think that's just how people work.
Well, this whole idea of being nice and all that, is that just naturally, just us as humans, do we just do that when we see other people?
I think you do that to get things done.
Yeah.
It's a very narcissistic form of thinking. It's that the nicer you are, the more efficient things will go, in a sense.
And I think that's just a fact.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain scenarios where
you have to
be aggressive
or like the world will end and stuff.
Not accepting or whatever, but in the grand scheme of things, I'll have an easier day if I am nicer to people.
Because you'll turn a lot of people off when you're just shouting.
Because you don't know, like, if things went badly and I was horrible. Let's say I was horrible to a bus driver or something, and then suddenly, I have an issue on the bus and I need to get off, or at, like, let's say not a stop at somewhere random. Maybe he's not inclined to let me off or whatever. I'd rather say, hello and have a good day.
Hello.
Well, how was the Canadian identity formed anyways?
It's
In
not
the first
kind of
place.
It's sort of random.
It's kind of what they decide when they write the Constitution.
But even then, I don't think that's going to start influencing everyone in the country.
It's all influenced. The government kind of.
But you're saying, like, how did it start?
Yeah.
In a sense?
I don't think it really started.
It was just sort of random. I think we've just sort of melted into this idea of a mostly peaceful country.
Different people with different ideas.
We're just hanging around and living life, in a sense.
Kind of like Hawaiians, except not that cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, Hawaiian is going through a lot of shit right now, right? Lava coming out of the ground. I don't know.
That's 2012 shit.
Everyone stitch.
But it's like you live near a volcano. It's not really I don't think too many people died from it. Did it? I don't think it was.
No.
I think.
I mean, infrastructure is destroyed, but
Yeah, but I wouldn't be too surprised if volcanic ash or lava flows out of a volcano because you live near a volcano.
Remember that one movie with Pierce Brosnan?
Day After Tomorrow?
No. There's something else with the volcano.
What else? Oh yeah, and like Vancouver and the whole western coast of North America. People say that's bound to erupt like very heavily. There's smaller, like I think San Francisco got hit last year with like a level 7, which is like not good, not bad.
earthquake?
Yeah.
Oh, level 7.
Like a big-ish, but it won't be detrimental to the way of life. What you're fearing is that, let's say LA got hit really bad, everything crumbles, a lot of people died, then the city is essentially dying, right?
Well, I mean, yeah. Like the city will still go on. I still think a level 7 earthquake is pretty high. It's gonna destroy something. It's not
Yeah.
like a mild shake.
You say Yosemite? No.
Yosemite
Yosemite is another
Sam?
thing. I think
No, that's
like the
not,
ashes.
Yosemite National Park.
Yeah. That's supposed to erupt or something. Maybe that's a conspiracy. But like, there's a lot of things that could go wrong any second.
Just to
To
suffer.
wipe a bunch of people off. Or like,
Every
when you
night.
get hit by a huge meteor.
I can feel my leg.
What time are we at?
50.
We're
Around
50.
50.
50?
So
Do you guys want to shift into YouTube?
Yeah,
I think
sure.
we should do that. Whoa. I just want to wrap up some points. That. I'm just going to do it in my head. This.
Oh, let me.
Yes, sir.
Apu, like, because that's all I got today.
That's alright.
Apu is fine now these days, but like back then, nah. Because
What do
of
we
like
mean,
the,
like this-
the very little representation we have now. It's okay because like it's like a certain
Yeah,
majority.
you got that dude from the Big Bang Theory
a
and
certain majority understands how brown Americans are.
And
So,
Kumail in Silicon Valley.
Mhm.
yeah.
the stereotype guy in Silicon Valley, man.
Which?
I mean, at least he's funny.
He's not much of a stereotype. I
The
don't think
Asian
so.
guy in
Oh yeah.
he's a weirdo more than
Oh, I
a
was talking
racist.
about
I don't think he's a
Pakistan guy.
stereotype. I think he just.
The accent though. The actor doesn't need to have an accent.
Maybe
That
he
is-
does have an accent.
Maybe he does.
He doesn't. He speaks pretty fluent English. I've seen his interviews.
Well, his
Well,
character.
He does like a really
his
shitty
character
Chinese
doesn't
accent.
speak a lot of English.
I see that one stereotype that's often
So you're saying it's a plot device? Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'm-
a stereotype that's often used is the Asian the mysterious Asian guy,
Mhm.
and that we still use, which is very weird.
Like where? What's the most
Again, like what you said, Silicon Valley, and like
I don't think
I
it's
saw it
a
in
mysterious
Pitch
thing.
Perfect too.
Oh.
A good one is
Like this Japanese chick, she was like the quirky one, the weird one, that says punchlines, very stupid punchlines.
a really good example of the mysterious Asian is Matrix or Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, where you have this guy was like the protector of the Oracle, and he just spoke in very vague terms and never specific
You
about
must
it.
follow the light.
Yeah,
The wings shall set you free.
I don't. He,
Drink Red Bull.
He didn't. He didn't speak in weird, but like the idea of the mysterious Asian in
Films, entertainment.
American film
It's always like a
is pretty common.
old dude. Kung Fu Panda. Yeah.
Sensei.
Did you know that lemur guy was Dustin Hoffman? When
You
you
mean Zaboo-Mafoo?
no, the other lemur from Kung Fu Panda.
Huh?
Rest in peace, Zaboo-Mafoo, lest we forget.
Mm.
A true hero, Canadian hero.
The
Was it
Kratt
Canadian?
Brothers. Yes.
It's surprisingly Canadian. I thought it was like Australian or something.
That was PBS.
Oh yeah, it felt very PBS.
Yeah.
Okay, do we want to shift into YouTube
Yeah,
now?
let's do it. I
Sure.
think I should just move on. Yeah.
I don't know enough about this.
Well,
Nice.
you do. You do. What
Like,
do you think?
Has it
It's essentially we've been talking about like, because this is a new show. I was thinking of banning YouTube, but it's just too
been? Oh, so
big of a big deal.
there aren't any news stories that came out
Well, I was
About what?
searching
on
on.
YouTube.
Not really.
It's
Other
just
than
sort of same.
oh, sorry, that all was a little bit peaking audio wise.
Oh.
They YouTube gave a bunch of shows to huge celebrities like LeBron James, other people. They only gave a YouTube Red show to one YouTuber. That's the news.
That's interesting.
It's just a slow, but not even slow. It's just a gradual, like the disrespect YouTube is putting on its original creators and the people that built the platform.
Okay, we'll get back to that too.
Is
What
it
were you
'cause-
saying?
Thank you.
Sorry, I feel bad.
No, I was just joking.
Ooh, I didn't cut it off that long.
Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, no, I was using a VPN and then I saw an offer for live TV on YouTube. That's weird.
It's a dumb move. My
So,
God.
How
I think
was dumb move?
they're, yeah.
Turning. I mean,
But that's what they want.
like
That's what YouTube wants.
live streaming. Or
No,
do you
no,
want
live
to
channels,
turn
like-
Live
into-
streaming cable.
I think
Or do
they're
you want like a weekly show? that
No,
shows up
He
as well?
means live watching
no
cable
live
on
like
YouTube.
you can watch Fox on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know which channels though, but still, I'm just saying.
Because they already have affiliated
Oh.
channels, right? CBC, NBC, whatever, Fox, PBS, yeah. They already have all the channels, YouTube pages there, so they can just stream the shows.
I mean,
No, stream the channel.
Yeah.
in terms of like a business perspective, yeah, that's a good idea.
Because it's much easier to go on YouTube and watch than
But
sign up for something.
It's also a lot of these networks are trying to start their own streaming services.
Yeah, Canada, Bell 5 TV is streaming TV.
Even individual larger networks like Fox, HBO stuff. Well, HBO can survive on its own. It's fine.
They have HBO Go and HBO, whatever.
Yeah, no, but they're starting to do their own streaming services, which aren't all going very well.
There's just too many.
So I think it's a good business model to just shift into an online space where you can watch live stuff and turn it into a subscription model, which technically TV is, but have it be like, I don't know, $20 a month.
Yeah,
And suddenly you get all these major news channels or whatever.
As optimistic as this like pick and choose thing seems, I feel like these cable companies are gonna sneak up on us, charge like huge fees for excess BS.
Do you think YouTube's attempt at trying, at least I think it's an attempt at trying to replace live TV and just cable in general, will be successful in the future?
Yeah.
Sure, but
To
at
some
what cost?
I mean, we're gonna lose. Okay,
totally like
live TV is going out.
What do you mean, like it's
cable.
rising?
Like no, it's going.
Cable is
we're
cable's
losing
been
it.
dying. It will die in
Yeah,
like 20
eventually.
years.
Streaming,
completely.
like we can agree, is the future of television.
It's now. Yeah.
I think it's weird what you mentioned of they're giving shows to movie stars or whatever, big
Huge celebrities, essentially A-list people.
But I kind of get it because you need to make a name for yourself for being a proper streaming service, like a legitimate one, and not
Sure.
because with YouTube Red, like I have no need to pay for that, and I don't see any.
You can't even get it in Canada. I didn't like ads. I wanted to
Right.
actually pay for YouTube.
Like I don't mind YouTube ads that much, but the whole idea of just having a streaming service for YouTube content, like specifically YouTuber created content, it works, but not for everyone, and it cuts out a lot of demographics because I don't go to YouTube for television level programming. I go to YouTube because it's a lot of just user created
Exactly.
passionate work in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like YouTube doesn't even understand itself.
Yeah.
Exactly. I thought about.
Well, with this whole like streaming being the future, where do you think that'll leave Canadians? Because we've tried Show Me before, but that got canceled because there's not enough of a market.
Just the U.S. companies are going to have divisions in Canada. That's it.
Like Hulu tried. The reason why Hulu isn't here yet is because, there's not a big enough market in Canada.
Yeah.
Like
To diversify.
Netflix is pulling it off because they're just the biggest on the market, but it's also one of those things where it's not technically that hard to sort of market it to the world and not a specific country. The issue comes with getting licensed product, like proper films, televisions for Canada specifically. I think with the other channels, they're just going to slowly shift in, and it's going to be, as streaming gets bigger, the regulations on licensing out television shows and stuff like that is going to become a little more lenient or easier for these large companies because it is making a ton of money for their respective economies.
Yeah, and went over this down in private conversation, but I think YouTube and its familiar programming is very reality TV. Like if you want to go through traditional media, it's reality TV, it's lowbrow entertainment, it's DIY creator stuff. Of
And
course,
games.
there's always good stuff there, but YouTube is always, for now, gonna be Netflix's like trashier alternative. People will go to it,
Like there's
and
the issue with YouTube is I don't see creators leaving it. I don't see anyone going to be leaving it. I think it's the best service right now for users.
with the most market, most recognition.
It's like if a big creator is catering to 1 million subscribers on YouTube, like it's so easy to watch stuff on YouTube. I have no issues with YouTube when I'm as a consumer.
their software is fine. Yeah.
They like there are issues with the creators, but that's not gonna. If one person leaves, it's not gonna shift the market. I don't think if PewDiePie leaves, it's gonna shift the market suddenly. It's not. It doesn't work that way because it's such a pro-consumer product or website that regardless of how difficult it is for creators to make content, it's the easiest platform by far just to watch. And
yeah, the only thing that the creators could do is join together and make something new for themselves.
Yeah,
which I'm surprised no one has tried yet.
it's difficult because you're working. It's not.
Oh yeah, they
it's
also
not like
work
a niche
everything.
market. Like Twitch worked because streaming was niche. It wasn't that huge.
I mean, yeah, I was just gonna segue to Twitch. A lot of creators are embracing Twitch. A lot of creators from YouTube are embracing Twitch, but I think they can't make the move.
The issue is that you can't. Twitch doesn't work the same way as YouTube. You can't just post content on there.
Yeah.
It's live streaming. You can make more money off Twitch, and it's a lot easier to make money off
Better
Twitch
environment.
if you have viewers.
Better management.
Because the issue with creators is the monetization is difficult on YouTube. It's difficult to navigate, especially with regulations, and they want to be like a family-friendly site or whatever. So they're shifting to stuff like YouTube, and then like to actually have this as a professional career on YouTube is using Patreon and stuff like that, because no one can completely rely on YouTube for their money.
Yeah, not really anybody anymore.
Or safely at least.
Or make good money at least. Yeah.
Well, some people are making good money, but it really is. It's not a safe space to do it.
I think whoever's doing well on YouTube, they're selling merch too.
Yeah, selling merch, using Patreon, Twitch streaming, donations, all of that, doing live events.
It
Even
used to be enough, but now they got to do all these different things to get by or profit.
Yeah.
I just think the company's just destroying its own culture and destroying its own.
Well, it's destroying it for the creators, not the users.
It's like it's
But
trying to.
me, someone who came, in the middle of its life, I'm kind of with it.
No, I'm trying to find the word.
Sure.
Gentrification.
There you go. It's
Yeah.
doing that to itself.
Exactly. Yeah. Tearing down like a bodega for Starbucks. Exactly.
It would be interesting to see YouTube team up with all these big networks, because that's going to be the shift to where like these big networks have a hold on like, I guess, internet media, social media in a sense.
I think
Or
in America they'll try to do their own. Every big network will try to do their own thing because they have.
But it's not a matter of that. It's three media companies now who control everything. So, what's to say they don't just lock all their content for the other? Because that's essentially what they want to do. Is instead of having to license out all their products to streaming services, they want to just hold it, have their own like mega streaming service that everyone goes to. So instead of getting a small amount of money to license out a TV show to Netflix for 6 months, they can get all of the money that Netflix is getting by having that TV show on one streaming service, which works. Because I thought I was just gonna stick to Netflix and be dedicated to it, but now I'm using Netflix and Amazon Prime Video, and because they tend to swap between IPs.
Yeah, I think I can only stick to one. Both based on budgetary concerns and also I don't want to balance.
Also, I
just want to go for
I think that's why these companies are making so many in-house productions, is that they know there's going to be a major shift to where they can't get as much licensed content on their streaming services, so they need to supply that with their own content, or at least be able to stay afloat with their own content.
Yeah, the biggest company likely to just privatize everything is Disney. Right? They have Marvel. They have all these different IPs.
Yeah.
They already have, but they don't have like an app or a site that.
If they
lets you
made
watch
YouTube
it.
the Disney streaming service, then it'd be over.
Oh.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
You think? What do you mean? Disney buys YouTube from Google?
No, I think they
hold hands.
They hold hands. They work with
Ugh.
Google and make a streaming service, called like YouTube, in association with Disney or something like that. And then all of their product becomes licensed to YouTube.
And the Fine Bros will be all behind it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so dirty. Feels so dirty. So you think YouTube is like a desolate, kind of hopeless place that people have got to move on, like the original creators?
I just think I don't know if people are going to shift from YouTube. I think a lot of YouTube's popularity is going to stay with user-made content. So they're going to keep that going, or keep it afloat to some extent.
Begrudgingly.
Yeah. But they're also they're going to let the big networks have a hand in trying to make something together. Because if they keep that majority of viewers, which is a huge amount, it's what is it? Almost 1 billion, 2 billion.
In the billions.
Yeah. So if you get that many viewers onto one service with all this user-made content, and then you say, hey, we also have a television streaming service, so you don't need your TV. Like, if I was only watching stuff on YouTube and I had a TV at home or whatever, and then I saw I can get the news, and I can get my favorite, sitcom or whatever,
Yeah.
like, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wouldn't have to pay, $50 a month for television. I could just use, the streaming service, $20 a month, use YouTube.
Yeah. To be frank, whatever y'all decide to do, Disney, I'm probably gonna pirate. There's probably gonna be a bunch of us gonna pirate because we feel like we're kind of stranded with no options, especially in Canada.
I've kind of given up on pirating. I've just gotten so tired of it.
Yar! You be
Like
walking the plank.
because it used to be I used to just pirate games, but then it's anytime I'm getting games now, I just want to support developers because I do tend to buy a lot of indie games, or I'm interested in a lot of indie games.
Okay, that's fair.
So I like to support the developers, even if it's a somewhat larger company. If it's a good game and it's worth the money, then yeah. Yeah.
Jay's working on the beat. Who was that for?
What?
What's the beat for?
The thing you said.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm glad you. I thought you were gonna improvise with some keys. That's all.
Beep, boop, boop, beep, boop.
Distorted, slow. What is it? What do you think is a BPM on this stuff? 110.
4,000.
I'm not sure.
It's just screaming. No different from.
Is it 93?
93? Exactly 93?
Wasn't 93 the norm at one point?
98.
What is our
98 sounds
Boom
about
bap.
what's our time at?
right. 1 hour, 8 minutes. Do we have anything else to cover?
I mean, we can go back to talking about Hateful Eight.
Oh yeah.
We can segue that in.
I mean, sure. Yeah, I saw Hateful Eight on Netflix a couple days ago. Thought it was a fun movie. The writing kept me around because it was mostly based on, like Ross said, a bottle episode. A lot of really engaging dialogue, telling a story. You kind of build the story up in your mind through what they're saying, and I think they did the ending pretty good. Some of the cinematography was really great. Don't have too much gripes with it. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's a tough job. I think it's one of the best examples of a bottle movie or episode. And Jay, if you're Jay,
Yeah, what's up?
you said you didn't know what a bottle episode.
Don't know what a
movie.
bottle is. What is a bottle movie?
It's when for the majority of a show or movie, the characters are restricted to a small location. So Hateful
Oh,
Eight was the
shit,
one
okay.
house.
12 Angry Men.
12 Angry Men, yeah. There was an episode in Community called the Bottle episode, which was literally in their study room. That's it. There was a movie that kind of came and gone that not many people saw called Free Fire with Brie Larson, and it was sort of like this arms deal gone bad movie, and it was all in a warehouse. I thought it was interesting. I didn't think it was particularly great. It was fun to watch. It had Armie Hammer in it.
So you think Quentin Tarantino did this movie? Why was there? It was like a $45 million, I guess $50 million ish movie, and it was a bottle film. You think he deliberately wanted to take on that challenge?
Yeah, I think to some extent, if you can, because the dialogue in the movie is like near perfect.
Yeah, sure.
It's great. I have no complaints, and I think all the performances were done really well. I think it's an interesting story because in most bottle episodes, or with bottle movies at the same time, it's hard to get multiple dimensions of story going in a small location. But this, you had the before timeline, the flashback timeline that you saw, and they were segmented off to when you saw them outside to when you saw them inside, and then some scenes where they were outside again. I think it's really interesting how you can make a properly big budget film in just one location, really. Or the majority of it in one location. It's hard to do because your entire story is hinging on performances and dialogue and writing.
Yeah, and I knew the British guy was fishy. Why would you hire a British guy to be a hangman in, what was it, not Missouri, America, Middle America? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting concept that people try and follow. I'm looking up a list of bottle movies so I know. Like The Breakfast Club.
I guess.
Iconic movie.
Oh shit.
That's true. That's true. I didn't even think
That's
of it. Yeah, like a
127 hours. I didn't really like it. Okay. It's tiring. Yeah, there aren't many. It's more common with television because it became a trope. Or you just have characters in one location, and it was the frustration of being in that one location.
Like us, the frustration of being in one location.
Yeah, I can't stand it.
The windows don't work because they got painted over.
Rear Window by Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay, that's cool.
Dial M for Murder, which I didn't see.
Well, that wraps up this episode, right? We'll
Pretty much.
wrap up with the music.
Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh yeah,
which I
that's
still didn't
true.
see.
I
saw
the
the
most
cinema
of it.
started.
It wasn't very good. I saw it.
Yeah.
It wasn't very good. It's a little too cheesy. It's a little blurry now, but nothing about it was remarkable at all. It just felt kind of cheap. The setup was kind of cool. Characters were intriguing enough to start, but
Castaway, technically. Single Island.
what about what's it called? Snowpiercer? It was on a train.
I don't think that's the same.
That's too grand of a.
Because the movie was sort of based on movement to different cars.
So it's like a community instead of.
And each car was represented differently. It's the equivalent of going to different communities in a city, but it's on a train. I think it's not just the condensation of where you are in a location. I think it's also the way it's set up. So that the setting of the location never really changes. It's just, or like the theme of the location almost.
I love that movie, Snowpiercer.
My stomach's growling.
Didn't hear it. It's good. Oh,
There it is.
it's like a really quiet, gentle fart.
Yeah, man. I hate it when my stomach growls in public.
I'm a little embarrassed, but like people know it's No, I can't help it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to see All of Dogs soon.
I love dogs. Yeah.
Should probably check showing. Did you guys check showing time yet?
I can check right now.
Yeah. I don't want to get home too late.
Well.
There's people in the house that wants to get up early.
Well, if we go to a movie that's probably gonna be at like 5:30 or 6, then we're done at 8 to 9.
That's okay.
You're getting home late.
10. That's fine. That's okay.
Oh, where are we going to see it?
Queensway.
So then you're getting home at 11.
No. If I get up at 8 or 9, it wouldn't take me too long. An hour and a half, maybe an hour and 45.
Well, 9, it'll take 2 hours.
What?
Queensway to Scarborough is the same as here to Scarborough.
Yeah.
So 2 hours.
I'm just saying, like, I don't have to go, but I want to go. That's all. I think it'll be okay. Yeah, me and Jay couldn't make it to the meeting, but we were talking about promotional ideas. One big thing was like
What meeting?
putting Monday.
Oh,
Yeah, we're just talking about how to promote things and upload schedule. This should be all up soon, the episodes, and we're gonna promote everything quickly, and we're gonna try to do a pretty big promotion, like a campaign, to get our name out there. Jay, you brought up putting stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that could breach the law. I don't know what kind of implications that would be. So I don't know where to put our stickers around, but if you live around the city, expect to see our stuff around. You can unplug
done.
your headphone, yeah.
It's not Joji at all. I don't know what the fuck I was doing.
Just distort
It's
it.
autism.
Does he have beats anymore? Slow it down. Better, right? Maybe slow it down a little bit more.
the only showing at Queensway of Isle of Dogs is 9:40.
Fuck. Yeah. It's not. What about Scotia?
Yeah, I'll check Scotia.
Okay, then can you let's say here's the lyrics. It's very Joji, like. So we'll start with the keys. I was trying to parody Joji, but I started liking his stuff after hearing his songs like 20 times. It's like I get his aesthetic, and I think it's kind of cool. It's nice to listen to. Kind of like a downer thing to.
I should have looked at the lyrics before doing this.
No, it's okay. I was still working on this on the way here.
Scotiabank Theatre isn't even playing Isle of Dogs.
What about Dundas? I don't think we'll have actually a showing at this rate.
Young and Dundas. I mean, we could always just go downtown and get a drink.
We can have a pint. Yeah. I had
Not really dressed for the occasion, but
it's like a British pub. I think we're best dressed for a pub or something. What were you thinking of?
I don't know.
You said we weren't.
No, because
we are dressed, or we
I'm
are
thinking of going to in my head. I just instantly went to District.
Not? Oh, that's pretty casual. I was thinking you were thinking like a super highbrow dinner club or something. That we need to dress up.
The Young and Young and Dundas Isle of Dogs is playing at 6:50.
We can make that. That's not terrible. It's in 2.5 hours. Well, we'll decide. We'll have a pint.
I mean, we don't
decide.
even have to go see a movie.
No.
We can just go somewhere, hang out for a bit.
Have a pint, chill out, be good.
Yeah. I'm gonna mark down topics in here from now on.
Sure, let's do it. Ooh, nice. It's kind of giving me what is that? Super edgy. Death grips.
Oh. I'm gonna go pee.
All right.
Is it appropriate for me to go pee?
We'll do it when you come back. Be quick. Do you want me to bring the mic closer? I need to get into a Joji mode, which is like two days of no sleep. At the end of a alcohol like rager at the back of the club, being in like this sleepy position, half eyes opened. And I realized when he, I don't know how he sings, but he never, when I try to replicate him, I don't really move anything in, like I don't move my mouth at all.
Right. It's like, yeah, very lazy mouth, like half open.
And it's a lot of crooning. You don't love me anymore.
Right.
Demons.
Demons. Is this still recording?
Yeah.
Alright.
I think it's gone.
Cool.
We'll wait until, like, I think as soon as he gets in,
I'm
we'll
practically done, but like,
start. Yeah, very good. You sure you're not gonna slow it down? I feel like.
no, I think this is Joe. I like the new song. Remember? The
Yeah,
story of
right?
the space.
You're right, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I listened to like most of his public work on Spotify, and this is kind of the shit I brought up. Alright, we'll just wrap it up with this little performance. So do you want to start with the keys, and then that's the chorus?
Oh, you want to make an actual song? Damn,
Like-
son.
Like, improvise some keys, just some chords, and then when it drops, go to that. This is the chorus, right? It'll be alright. I think it'll be alright. It's not very sorted out, the lyrics. It'll be like a minute long. So improvise and then go that. Can you do that?
Improvise.
Am I asking too much?
Do some
I'm
improvisation.
not improvising, dude. I'm serious. Like,
Alright, then we'll just then have a bit before the beat
yeah, of
kicks
course.
in.
I got you, fam. I got you.
I don't want to ask too much. I know what that
I'm not
is,
a
like.
musician, like, you know what I mean? I'm not Stevie. Like, I don't fucking know music theory or anything. I'm a fucking waste. I don't.
Waste, bro. Real thing, eh?
Well, this is nice sounding.
Alright, well, I don't know how this is gonna work with. That's cute. Ooh, I like the 808 there. It really hits.
It's just a sub bass.
Alright, we can start. I don't know if my key will match to yours, but I'll just fucking go with it.
You're supposed to be going.
I know. I'm sorry. Could you?
I got you.
Josie. Yeah. Alright. Draw on your face and line. Your tears fall down the stream of light.
Oh yeah.
The wind howls on this place right now. I think I'm way too high on the key. Could you be my side? Will it be alright? I think I'll be alright. Waiting for the sunrise. Sunrise. Will it be alright? I think I'll be alright. Waiting for the sunrise. Sunrise. Could you be by my side? Could you be by my side? Could you be on my side? Could you be on my side? Oh, now I'm crying. Josie, I'm so emotional. I'm drunk and I haven't slept in 8 weeks or something like that. Yeah, right. Chilling right now. Rose, feel free to join us. I hope you listened to Joji before.
No, I haven't.
Alright.
I'm gonna assume he's not as good as this.
Made a poo poo in my pants. You made a poo poo in my pants. Ah, yeah. Made a poo poo in my pants. I don't know what to do. Poo poo in my pants.
I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do. What am I supposed to do? I shit my pants, poo poo. Out of key. Sing out of key. Well, you know lots about
My
me.
life is out of key.
Yeah. I'm so sad. I'm Joji. I don't know how to sing like him anymore. Yeah, right, yeah, right.
Yeah, right, yeah, right.
Open up the window.
Don't you open up that window.
Open up the window. These windows don't really work. The demon's in my asshole. The demon's in my asshole. I wanna get out. I wanna get out.
Alright. Enough.
That didn't really work.
That's fucking
I went
disgusting.
way too high.
I love
Because I was trying to match the
We
key.
went all over the place. We went places no man has
I
stepped
mean, the
into.
last freestyle was like 8 minutes long. I was in the edit.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That was 8
imagine
minutes.
that shit.
Lots of Gen A's.
Yeah,
Lots of
right,
Jennies.
yeah, right.
Lots of pussies and jennies and
So it's not as easy to replicate Joji as we thought. I also have
Yeah.
performance fright, so contributing factors.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tired man. I had a meeting for work
How was
this
that?
morning. It's fucking trash, yo.
Policies and
Policies, how to
Performance.
improve ourselves and all that.
oh
shit.
god, that BS.
Who? Oh, for work?
Me.
Mm.
It wasn't a one-on-one. It was like everyone. It was so weird to see everyone in casual clothing.
Yeah.
My mouth isn't working anymore. Let's
Are
just
they
fuck
nice at
this.
your work? You have good coworkers?
They're great, fantastic. Let's just
Cool.
fucking end this, man.
Cool.
I'm gonna bet.
I mean, that's a nice ending tune. Just having the piano. Don't add anything else.
The beat was about to drop, but it didn't.
Sounds like Bonnie Bear. Not really.
No.
Bon Iver?
Stop that.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Are you cool with going downtown, JJ? Are you also cool with me calling you JJ?
Ice JJ Fish. Anybody know that? Ice JJ Fish. You don't know Ice JJ Fish? Oh, that's a shame.
Who's Ice JJ Fish?
Ah! Ice JJ Fish.
How long have we been going? Are we still on timer, dude? Yeah, we're almost 1:30. We're good.
Yeah. I just wanted to.
Yo, it's just on a loop. Like we can go
Yeah.
forever. Oh, did we talk about the sale thing?
What?
The thing we have, like the CDs and shit.
We're selling
Oh.
CDs of this?
No, not this
Yes.
fucking trash.
We could just do a promotional video
No, oh yeah.
right
Alright.
now,
Alright.
quickly. Yeah. So, I'm not gonna turn the cameras back on. We're gonna run some promotions, sweepstakes, just to get our following count up there, get more exposure. All right. See you.